it is my absolute pleasure to bring up one of my absolute favorite Star Trek guests. She is an actress, choreographer, director, and broadcaster whose works include, and make some noise if I say something like, Labyrinth, Muppets Take Manhattan, Mad About You, her podcast series, McFadden Investigates, Who Do You Think You Are? And most recently, X-Men 97. Today, she is known by her signature role as Commander Beverly Crusher, MD, in Star Trek The Next Generation, and her return to the role as Star Trek Picard. Please welcome Gates McFadden!
Very nice intro. Hi, everybody. We're all here for the storm. It's so exciting. We're in the safest place. So let's take photos now. Because I don't want you to be taking photos the whole time. I want you to be listening to me. I want you to be just on every word. Okay, no, actually, you can take the photos now. With half the hat. Let's look at those roots.
More, my darling, more. Excellent.
But you know, this is because the lights are killers here. You know, this is without the jacket. Okay, all right. Done. Okay. All right, done now. Don't record this whole thing because then I'm not going to say the real stories. I just put this on film because this is a relief. Okay? Is that all right? Yeah. It's made. It's made. It's made. All right.
Hi, my dear. How you been?
I've been good. That's my podcast. I've been good. I've been busy.
Yes, you have. We've talked about this before, but I'd love our audience to know, how's the podcast coming along?
I'm doing season 3 right now, and it's my favorite season so far. It really is. Honestly, I think I've become more relaxed. I think I'm better. So it really is like we're in a bar, the lights are down, and we're just having a little drink, maybe a little tequila. We don't, of course, we're in the studio, but it's very intimate. I mean, I love my guests. I just finished with Sonequa, David Ajala, Jones. We've got Ethan Peck coming up, and some really good people. So I hope you tune in because I learned a lot about these people. And there were definitely things where they go, I never said this publicly, but so check it out. I really enjoyed doing it actually a lot. I hated it in the beginning. I was like, why did they hire me? But now I'm really having fun.
Well, what I really enjoy about it is that there's sort of 3 tiers of the podcast. There are ones that, for someone like attached to Star Trek and stuff, talk about character and canon and that sort of things. And then there's some other ones that talk about the job and the work. You talk about the life.
People, you learn more in one podcast about who that person is than if you went to 20 cons and did this sort of thing. Because it's conversation and we're comfortable with each other, we know each other, and that's what I wanted. I did not want it to be, there's a lot of brilliant Star Trek ones where you talk about the episodes and how did you get involved and all of that. And there's so many people who do it brilliantly, I just didn't really want to get into that. I wanted to do something that I felt like doing, which is I wanted to ask questions about, what are the issues they're dealing with in their own lives, and okay, how was parenting, and how were you parented, and talk about your life, and I love that. So anyway, there you go.
You bring out some of the best and some of your guests. It's wonderful.
That's very sweet.
I'm looking forward to that. And you were quite surprised at the end of X-Men 97. You're the voice of Mother Scotty, which X-Men fans know, a very prominent character with a crazy history, but this means I'll make the assumption that we'll be hearing more of that character and renewal and stuff like that.
I think that's a good assumption.
Yeah, I think so too. But the Disney satellites are always watching, so they always...
You never know, but I think it's a good assumption.
How did that come about?
Well, it came about because Kevin Feige, first of all, he really enjoyed Picard Season 3, and liked what I did on it, and I've actually done I've been asked to do a couple Marvel things, and this is the newest one, and that's how it happened. It's sort of like, I didn't know the Marvel world, and I'm learning about it, and it's cool, and I really think the animation is extraordinary. It's really amazing. I don't know how they do it. But it was so much fun putting it down. I love the people who do it. I mean, I also did something for Kevin Smith. I love doing voice work. It's so much fun, and you play with the character, and you imagine what it's going to look like. Sometimes you don't know exactly what it's going to look like, and then it happens. But I really do enjoy it. And I have to also put, if you guys don't know about something called the Center Seat, I was an executive producer on it with Nacelle Productions, and you can find it on Amazon. It is a fabulous thing. I'm the narrator on it as well. But it's 9 episodes, and it starts with the original thing of Lucille Ball and how she said yes to Star Trek. It goes through the whole thing. There's interviews with people who were there. They have footage of things that goes, it's like the original Star Trek, the original pilot, then there's another thing where they talk about then the remake, and she was the one, Lucille Ball, not Desi. Lucille is the one who made this whole thing happen with Gene Roddenberry. And she put the money together to do the second pilot, and she must have been a busy woman, that's all I can say. And then also, they go into the animated series, which I didn't even know anything about. And so a whole episode is about that. And then each movie, each iteration, there's a whole episode on it, and they have interviews. And there's some people who I had no idea. They were, they and Gene Roddenberry did not get along, and Paramount people who did not get along with Gene. And it's just fascinating. It was all this stuff that I never knew about. So take a look. I hope you like it. I think it's actually quite wonderfully done, and it's going to continue with all of the new iterations, I think.
It's, as you discover in my own journey, discovering the backstory of Trek and everything else, everything that was going on, it's like, wow, it really was a miracle.
It really was. But even in all of the things, I mean, they go into the movies, they talk about it, and it's the fact that you're hearing from sides that have different perspectives on it. It's not just PR. That's what's interesting. It's kind of like a documentary about it from someone who's getting people who are saying good things about it, some people who are questioning things, and it's really interesting.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for indulging my capricious curiosity as always.
The best.
I'm going to jump out in the audience, and let's go ahead and take some air questions. Maybe load up some.
Don't jump down. I just pretend to be a doctor. Don't jump down there.
I will lower myself down. Boom! Hey! Not bad for a 59-year-old man. Okay, whoever asks the first question will get 2 pieces of candy. I think it's going to be this fella right here. Hi. Hey, what's your name?
John.
John, what do you want to know?
What was it like choreographing Labyrinth with the late, great, legendary David Bowie?
Yeah, he really was a legendary artist. It's truly amazing. It was an incredible gift. I think I didn't have a clue how to really. I mean, there's so many things in retrospect. I wish I had asked him. He was ready to hang out and do stuff, but I was so like. This was a job I had never done, something so big. I had never choreographed something that big. I'd choreographed a lot of theater in New York City, but this was vast. And I also had done another movie of his called Dream Child, which was a smaller thing that I did. So I was running all over the place. So I don't think I was really focused as much on, this is David Bowie, he's saying he wants to watch the tennis matches, and let's, I was just like, okay, what do I have to do next? I know, it's stupid. But he was great. I'll never forget the line when he came in. And he said, I am a bit tired today, darling. I said, what's going on? He said, well, Mick and I shot a video dancing in the streets last night, so we were up all night. And I'm like, oh my God, if I'd known that, I would have been there with him. But, he was so down to earth. Someone who's so charismatic. He doesn't walk in being charismatic. He does that when he performs, but he's really someone who listens to you, who's present. He was very, very amazing and impressive, actually, and very, very smart. So that was terrific, even though I did not, like a fool, take advantage of it and sit and learn about him more, but I didn't. Because I was doing Hobble, Ludo, coaching Jennifer, and doing the Goblins, and working with them. A lot of them had movement difficulties and stuff, and then I cast the ballroom dancers, and I did the ballroom scene with you and Jennifer. But there are very few people who could have pulled off Jerry, and David Bowie really knew how to do it. Very few people could have walked on that set. I mean, he was amazing. He's a rock star.
Great question. Thank you. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Jerry. The late great Michelle Nichols often mentioned how inspired she was about the impact that she made on the black community. And Trek-wise, I wondered if you had any personal inspiring stories that you've encountered throughout your career.
None. No. Just today, I cannot tell you how many doctors I met and signed, did photos with and selfies, and they're like, yeah, I'm a doctor. I mean, that's amazing to me. And they said, yeah, we grew up watching you. That's what's so beautiful about doing conventions is I learned when people started watching it, did they watch it with their parent, all of that sort of thing. And my life has literally been saved by doctors who were Trekkies. So that's not too shabby. It was knowing, the one I always tell is the one about when I had the ruptured appendix, and I was in Hawaii. I had just filmed Marker, and we had done 9 episodes, and we were done, and I was going to have a holiday for 3 days, and my appendix ruptured, and I knew enough about medicine to know that if you press in and it feels good, and you let go and you scream from pain, you're bleeding inside. Whereas if you have gas, it's the opposite. Oh no, don't press in. It feels good when you let go. You should know that. It's true. So anyway, I was like, oh no, and then it turned out it was appendix. And they were going to do a big 8-inch incision, and I said, does anyone do microscopic surgery like laparoscopy or something like that? And they said, there's one resident who's just come in and started here. We'll have to track him down. He's not right in the hospital. And he was from LA, believe it or not. And when, after hours, and I was in racking pain, they didn't give you stuff until they knew what kind of surgery, what we were going to do. And he walked in and he went, Dr. Crusher. He could recognize me in that kind of pain, and it was incredible. And he was really lovely. And that's sort of pretty memorable for me. That was a life and death. And there have been just other times where things like that have happened. I love the fact that so many young people have an experience with their parent, either a single parent, or they say, well, my dad and I used to watch this, or my mom and I used to watch this, and often the parent has passed away. And while they're talking to me, it brings back that moment of what they're missing in their lives. And it's a very beautiful, emotional moment. And often people are ashamed if they're crying, and I'm like, no, stop. Feel it. This is really interesting. And if you believe in any kind of spirituality yourself, this is meant to be. You're talking to me and remembering your parent and the love that you're feeling and the loss that you're feeling. And just, let's feel it. I'm here. You don't have to rush. I don't care if there's someone behind me. Let's just take a moment. And I really feel it's one of the greatest things when we do these cons, the things that you bring me, if you know what I mean. You're bringing me your experience of what the character or the show did for you. And it's powerful, and I think we should celebrate that, It's not true with everything. If I did Baywatch, which obviously I would never get cast in, but had I done it, it would be a very different thing if I'm swinging my bikini shots. But it's something that was a powerful show, and it talks about the real future and the things that have really happened, if we could collaborate together. I look at Picard season 3, and I go, yeah, Picard and I had this horrible fight about it, but in the end we love each other and work together, as does the whole cast. And that's what we're kind of missing a lot of that today in our society. We need to compromise, we need to collaborate. And I think I'm very proud of being with a show that talks about those things.
Hi, what's
piggybacking on the previous question, but I wanted to know what your thoughts were on the evolution of the portrayal of women in the Star Trek universe.
Well, the evolution has definitely been going up, that's for sure. Yeah, thank goodness, right? It's about time. And it's again, it's what's so particular about this show. The inclusivity, the openness, the curiosity, the fact that you can see something that's really strange to you, but you don't just fear it automatically, you're just like open. So you learn. The science of our show is so strong, and now we have women who are in positions of strength, who are scientists, doctors, whatever, and also parents. This was really crucial to me, the fact that children, and also in Deep Space Nine, obviously that happened too. Because if space travel takes a long time, and if we are going to be going to different places in the universe, someone's going to have a baby while they're up there. There's going to be children somewhere, and if we can figure out how to make it so that that's going to work, it's going to be good, and those kids are going to end up being geniuses like my two boys. My two space sons were smart. But, I think it's great. My mother started, she started as a bank teller and worked her way all the way up to a high position in a bank in Ohio, and it was tough for women. And the bank got sold, and the New York people came in, and she got let go because she was a woman, and she didn't, quote, have a family to support. That would be a lawsuit today. I mean, you can't. Everyone needs to take responsibility for themselves, but not necessarily tell other people who they are and what their rights are. I feel It's really about collaborating, sharing, and respecting each other. And now I feel women, you see it all over now, in terms of race, in terms of all kinds of things. There's much more respect as a whole in characters that are presented in a whole variety of shows. So, yeah, I'm glad.
Great question. Thank you. Bold move showing up to a Star Trek panel in that uniform, but I appreciate it. What's your name? Melissa, what do you want to know?
Do you find that you relate to Dr. Crusher more?
I think every character I've ever played, there's some part of me that's involved with that because it goes through me. I think, she was someone who was, Jean said, she's kind of the most human of everyone. Because she's a mother, because she's supposed to be a love interest, but she has the same pips as Commander Riker. She's a commander. And I think I've been in positions in my life where I was thrust into positions of responsibility. Like, I started teaching at universities when I was like 23 years old, and it just happened by chance. I wasn't even going out looking for these jobs. So I think it's nice when you like you look at Crusher and there's a situation. I think I've had a life where things have been sort of just happened and thrust upon me in a way, like even Labyrinth happened that way. I didn't go out looking, I didn't apply for the job. Someone just sort of surprised me and interviewed me without my knowing that I was being interviewed, sort of thing. So, yeah, I think there's of course parts of me, and I think the greatest experience for me personally, because I all my life wanted to be a mother, all my life. That's the most miraculous thing in the world. I mean, you know the science of it, but you're like, how did this happen? This creature? I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? So there's definitely a part of me. I love playing a mother character. I've played some not so nice mothers in my time. I've played on stage. I've played, mothers who left their kid who was sick and whatever. And I love acting. It's a very, very interesting, rich profession. And so I think there's a part of me in the villain, a part of me in the mother, whatever. But with Star Trek, it's something I'm very pleased with. I love my space sons. I have two extraordinary space sons, and No, I'm the one who taught them. Oh, no.
Great question. Here, how a blue one, of course, right? Hi, what's your name?
Michael. There was an episode towards the end of The Next Generation that I felt got a little...
Oh, I know which one.
yeah, it got a little too much hate, I think. And that episode is, of course, of Rosa. And I just wanted to say, I thought you were great. And I like how it... I mean, I can see how some fans weren't prepared for that. It was quite a departure.
Some fans were? What do you think I felt when I got that script? I'm like, what? Huh? Every woman in her family has been in love with a lamp? What? Forget the fans. It's like I had to learn the lines, and I'm like, you are kidding me. What? I tell Commander Riker, shut off all the electrical stuff. Okay, I will. Like, he would never do that. He would say, why? Well, because there's this ghost. Anyway, you're given a script. Now, I love that we did it because it's a cult classic and it's hilarious to me. And, come with lamps and they've made these lamps and groaning. It's hilarious to me. Running around in the nightgown and the whatever. Patrick was like, this is really not Star Trek. I said, oh, really? I didn't know. God bless her, Jerry. She wanted to write me a script that was kind of this romantic thing. Not that a ghost was too romantic, but, it was like, it was crazy. But at any rate, we did it, and I was paid for it. So now I find myself at night when I'm lonely, I just go, Ronan. And I'm really glad I have that possibility.
There you go. You're a good comment. Hi, what's your name?
John. I wanted to know, I've read some things that you've had to say about the difference between playing Dr. Crusher in the first season and then coming back for the third. Can you speak to what it was like coming back for Picard after the length of time from Nemesis?
Oh, it was so different. It was so different because the producer-writer, Terry Matalas, he contacted us early. He talked about what his ideas were. He said, what are your ideas? What do you think? He wanted input. I wouldn't have come back had I not liked the arc of the character because, I really felt she wasn't served well in the movies, and I loved what he was proposing. I thought it was great, and we would talk about scenes. It was very tricky, the scene when I tell Patrick about stuff. I don't want to be a spoiler here, but it was really tricky because there's two very different points of view, and I found a way to justify it and not feel like I was a bad person for doing it. I felt it really was a mother taking care of a child and doing something that she had to do in order to keep him safe. So it was exciting. Excuse me. It's a little late. It's cocktail time. I think I need dinner. I'll need dinner. I think it was really great. A great storyline, a great arc. And what I loved, I said, I don't want to have her just be the mother or just, something with Johnny. Anyone who's up on that space station has to know how to do everything. Because if people get sick, you have to take over for them. So I said, let's have a full, all the characters, women, men, everyone, aliens should be well-rounded. And I loved that I got to do action, I got to do a variety of things. And it was she always kept coming back, Crusher did, to find the solution. Like, okay, we found out this about the changeling, found out this, and then what can we do? And how are we going to find out where they are at the very end? Oh, human signs. She kept trying to find the solution. That's what I loved about her. She was determined, and she was doing it for herself, but also for the world, for the greater good. And what a gift for all of us to come back and be able to... we see each other, we're friends, so it's not like, I haven't seen anybody. But to work together again and to work on a script that someone really loved our characters, really loved our show, and he gave us great stuff. So I'm very grateful.
Great question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Steph. My question is, how much was it a challenge when you were doing the episodes where you got to teach acting to the crew? I really, really appreciate it. I love watching it, and I love how much respect you show, especially for Margaret.
Well, it's one of those funny things. Again, my eyes rolled when I'm like, get the script, and I'm like, wait a minute. She's the head surgeon, she's a mother, and she's the theater coach for the ship. She's doing plays. In what spare time is that? She doesn't sleep? I thought that was pretty wild, but I'm like, okay. And of course, the reason they did it is because I have a teaching career. Me, Gates McFadden, I taught at universities and graduate schools in theater arts departments. So I have, I directed productions, I did all that in real life, and still do. So anyway, there I am doing it on the ship. And of course, on that episode, I am 8 months pregnant personally. Yeah, you didn't know that little thing. But anyway, so they put me in a corset, which of course you would do, right, when you're 8 months pregnant. No, you would not, right? But they did. That's the only day in my entire pregnancy that I was like, I'm going to throw up. I mean, it was bad. But it was a fun episode. I loved Dwight. And it was crazy. And I thought, maybe also Crusher can be like the hairdresser on the ship. And, because that could have been funny. I wanted comedy. Do you know that I auditioned with the Naked Now scene? And they said, you can try any character. We're open for you doing any character you want. I was the first person, I think, the first woman they saw. And I took the funny scene, which is the only funny scene Crusher had. Yeah, do you believe that? And I'm thinking, she's the comic character. Okay, I'll take this, yeah. So I would have loved to have done something totally wacky, like, she has all of her wigs up in a thing, and I'm doing hair for everybody on the ship, like when I'm not doing medicine and theater things, and teaching Data tap dancing. Anyway, there you go. It was fun.
Great question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Was there anything you didn't like about filming Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Long hours. Yeah, it really was. That was the hardest thing. Cause, people. It's different now. Like when we did Picard, we had what's called the French hours, which is 10-hour days. Now it took you an hour to get there, and then you'd have hair and makeup and blah blah blah. But the shooting was just like 10 hours. So that was great. But we had days that would go 19 hours before, and you're in a dark stage, and then they would have to light things. That, like if you have a vast space, like taller than this but as big, and you have a whole set, it takes a long time to light. And so we're in our trailers and we're like that, and it's like, okay, come on, we're shooting. And so you're like, okay, wake up. So the hours would get long, and sometimes we got so silly. I mean, you just had to. It was the only way you could make it through. So we really did, crawling through one planet hell. And we're in all this stuff, and there's cat poo, because there was still the stage, and Patrick, we're all getting through it, and all of a sudden Patrick grabs my boob, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, darling, I didn't mean to. There were some just silly, wonderful things that happened. So that would be my biggest complaint. I wanted the character to be stronger, and and it finally became stronger. And then in Picard, it was a strong character for me, so I'm always happy for that.
Great question. Thank you. Hey, what's your name?
Mason. I want to know, just in general, what was your favorite Star Trek or not movie you've ever been in?
Well, I would say, I of course am interested in what your favorite Star Trek movie was.
I haven't seen many of them, but I do kind of want to see Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, that's a series. Yeah, absolutely. It's great.
Well, it doesn't matter movie, it could be series too.
Okay, so I would say my favorite movie of the ones that I did was, without a doubt, was First Contact. In terms of what the script was. It was a brilliant script. It was really well done by Jonathan. It was a great script. I loved finally being on the ship in that Generations. I know it was wacky, but it was really cool to actually be shooting on a Buccaneer kind of ship. That was fun. Even though I was the only one who was deathly sick the first 2 days, but then I was like, I don't want to leave. I really loved it at the end. I think that was it. I loved the whale movie of the first cast. I thought that movie was really good. I'm blanking on the name.
Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
There you go. I thought it was great. I thought it was an awesome movie. And the Wrath of Khan. I mean, there's so many good things. It just depends on the mood you're in, which one you feel like watching and stuff. It's like going back and watching some of our episodes. I go, I haven't seen that episode. I don't know if all of us have ever seen all of our episodes. Maybe Michael Dorn. I mean, he could name all of the episodes. I would not. I would be, I only know, this much of the canon, not that much by name. And if you asked us to remember the planets or the names of the aliens, that would be tough too. Because, when you're doing these shows, you don't go home and watch the show. You're like, you want to get some sleep, and then by the time it's done, you're on to something else or whatever. But what was fun is seeing the other iterations. Like, I really loved Lower Decks. I think all a really great show, right? I love the cast. I mean, they're really talented people, and Mike Mahan did a brilliant job with that. I think it could go on forever, frankly. I hope somebody else buys it and they keep going. I mean, Discovery had such beautiful things in it, and I loved the Deep Space Nine. I wish Avery would do stuff. I know Avery hasn't been around, but what a wonderful actor. I feel that we have to really give credit to the people who cast these wonderful actors, who really worked together well, and we're families. We see each other at conventions, and we're very, very fortunate, and we meet really interesting people like yourselves, or are you deadbeats? All right, no, actually, I recognize a lot of you. I recognize you, Monica. All right. Well,
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah,
So get caught up on all the movies, and then next year we can ask kind of where we bring it. All right, right on. We have time for one more, so we have a final question. What is your name?
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel. What do you want to know?
Nice.
You said earlier that Star Trek often at times was a miracle that came together in the way that it did in the end. Is there any times that you know of or can recall from your experience where things didn't work out?
What do you mean, in Star Trek?
Yes.
Well, we'd have episodes that wouldn't really, like Angel One. I'm like, really? And then we had a couple episodes, especially in that first season, a little dicey. But there's always things that don't quite happen like you think it's going to. Even in Remember Me, which I loved, by the way. The original way it was going to be shot, you were going to see me running as the ship literally was disappearing, but that cost too much money to do it the real way they wanted to do it. And it was disappointing because it was so well written the way that ship disappeared. And they did what they could afford, but there's a lot of times that it's like theater productions. I built a theater in LA. I was artistic director. You have to do what your budget can afford. Like, I've had to close shows that were hugely well reviewed. People wanted to buy tickets, but I could not afford to rent the 5 projectors for one more week. So that's just reality. We all have to work within budgets and things like that. So I think those were kind of disappointments. When I came back, it was a different character. They had Pulaski scripts that they were trying to just make Crusher. And suddenly I felt like my character was a matron all of a sudden. Then you just, I guess it's looking at the positive side of things. And here I am, all these years later. And here you are, and it's a gift. It's a gift. I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we're inviting you to come towards the stage, not on the stage, towards the stage. We're going to take a picture of amazing guests and all of you. Get to be with us tomorrow. So if you have a table, stop by. It's got lots of neat stuff. Thank you for everything. Audie, thank you for the great questions.